Marine researchers in the state of Texas recently found themselves in the midst of a waking nightmare when creepy dolls began showing up on their beaches. There's one particular 40-mile stretch along the Gulf of Mexico that's gotten it the worst, and these creepy dolls have garnered some national attention. Join Viewcation as we explore why these demon baby dolls are washing up on Texas beaches. Evil dolls have taken over Texas. There's something inherently creepy about decrepit dolls and doll parts. This is especially true if you don't know where they came from. Some unlucky marine researchers in Texas have sadly had to find out this fact firsthand, and their story has quickly taken the world by storm. It all started along a 40-mile stretch of the Gulf of Mexico. The stretch is located from North Padre Island in Texas to Matagorda Island. According to scientists, a staggering amount of trash gets washed up on this beach. Statistics say the amount of trash that gets washed up is 10 times greater than similar places nearby. There are multiple reasons for this, but there's no answer as to why so much of this trash consists of dolls. The researchers that peruse this 40-mile stretch come from the Mission-Aransas Reserve at the University of Texas Marine Institute. One of them is named Jace Tunnell. According to Jace, the reason why so much trash winds up along this stretch of beach is because of something by the name of a loop current. This loop current extends all the way from the Yucatan Peninsula to the state of Florida, and then it pushes as much debris as it can into the Texas Gulf. The phenomenon of trash showing up on this stretch of beach is nothing new, and it's why the area is so popular with environmentally conscious marine researchers. Still, no one is quite sure why so much of this trash ends up consisting of dolls and doll parts. The mystery is part of what makes the whole thing so disturbing, though there's also the fact that the dolls and doll parts themselves are pretty freaky to look at. They are so freaky they've become a bit of a national sensation. Magically, the marine researchers have found a way to turn this national sensation into something positive. While the fact of the dolls and doll parts showing up on the shore is indicative of environmental damage, the marine researchers have used them to help raise much-needed funds. The dolls are now helping raise important funds. For a while, Jace Tunnell has been selling these creepy dolls that wash up on this Texas stretch of beach at an annual fundraiser. According to Jace, around 30 dolls have shown up since he first began keeping count. He realized there was money to be made from the phenomenon when he posted a photo of a washed-up sex doll head to the Mission-Aransas Reserve's Facebook page. Someone commented they'd be willing to pay $35 for the creepy sex doll head just so they could keep it around as a novelty item. Jace ended up taking the man up on his offer, and the rest is history. Since this event, the interest in these creepy dolls and doll parts has only gotten bigger and bigger. And now, thanks to John Oliver, the dolls are of national interest. When Jace Tunnell first received the $35 from his first sale of a creepy doll part, he donated his profits to a rescue program for sea turtles. Proceeds from subsequent sales of creepy dolls have similarly been donated. In addition to important causes, the money also helps fund the operation of the Mission-Aransas Reserve itself. The mission does important work, and it's only increasing over time. The phenomenon of creepy dolls and doll parts washing up on the shores of Texas is certainly interesting, but it's also indicative of the fact that there's a lot of work to be done regarding the environment. There's also plenty of less interesting trash that gets washed up. The phenomenon of creepy dolls washing up was brought to national attention by popular comedian and talk show host John Oliver. John talked about the creepy dolls and doll parts on his show Last Week Tonight, which is HBO's answer to The Daily Show. Apparently, John was so fascinated by the phenomenon, he thought it would make great TV. The audience was won over by John's perturbed reaction to the footage of the dolls. John Oliver's story. On his program, John showed footage of the creepy dolls and doll parts while also providing some context about the related environmental concerns. The main point of the whole thing was certainly to make audience members laugh, but it can't be denied that John also brought their attention to an important topic. Not only that, there's also the chance that John might end up making a whopping donation by purchasing some of the dolls himself. The footage he played on his show came from a local Texas news station. John commented comically over the clip, with the comedian feigning terror at the sight of the creepy dolls and dismembered doll parts. John apparently hated the sight so much, he suggested all the dolls should be burned. The comedian seemed to take particular umbrage when the footage got to the part of the creepy sex doll head that had sparked the entire fundraising endeavor. When it came to the story of how a man had purchased that doll head for $35, John hilariously suggested the head needed to be returned to the ocean ASAP and the purchaser with it. The dolls and doll parts certainly make for some creepy images. Though the most popular of these dolls have been largely intact, it's hard to find one that isn't missing at least something. Many of these dolls have at the least missing eyes and limbs. Some have eyes and limbs that have accidentally been replaced in some way by barnacles and other ocean debris. While most of the creepiness seems to have come from the fact that they were in the ocean for so long, some are also strange in other ways. One doll that was washed up was covered in green war paint and featured a skull and crossbones insignia drawn onto its chest. This doll was likely creepy enough before it wound up in the ocean, though the natural damage that occurred to it on its journey to Texas has only made it all the more creepy. Will John purchase the dolls? John Oliver's first suggestion to how to deal with these creepy dolls was to immolate them. However, the comedian also suggested some other things that might be able to remove their curse from the earth, such as dumping them into an active volcano. The audience may have figured John was being facetious in his vow to annihilate the threat of these dolls from the planet. This all changed, though, when John revealed at the end of the segment an offer to purchase the remaining dolls and doll parts from the Mission-Aransas Reserves for a whopping $10,000. It appears the reserve is interested in John's offer, though no news has been given about when and if the dolls and doll parts will end up in the comedian's possession. Until then, we can only hope the phenomenon of these creepy dolls washing up on the shores isn't a sign the world is coming to an early end. Now, these dolls are creepy, but they're far from being the only items of trash that have washed up on this bit of Texas shore. Besides dolls, plenty of other items have washed up. Other interesting things that Jace Tunnell himself has found include rubber bales from World War II, as well as a message in a bottle. Other things Jace has found. The message in a bottle Jace found actually came from a 12-year-old French girl. Jace had the message translated and was shocked that it had been dumped into the ocean only a little over a year previously. Jace was able to get in touch with the girl who had written the message, and she and her family were touched. This is a far more heartwarming tale than the one involving creepy dolls. The story involving the rubber bales from World War II isn't quite as heartwarming, but it's still interesting. The rubber bales are mainly of interest for their historical value, as they're said to have come from a ship that sunk during World War II. 6 bales have been found in total, with each weighing around 200 pounds. Though it hasn't been confirmed, it's believed by some that these bales came from a German cargo ship that was sunken off the coast of Brazil by American fire. These bales then, slowly but surely, made their way to Texas by way of the established loop current. Regardless of why these creepy dolls and doll parts have been washing up on Texas beaches, at least marine researchers are making the most out of it. Now it's time to hear from you. Did you know about these creepy dolls, and that comedian John Oliver wants to buy all of them? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below.